Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, February 16th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will still be moving around. That is because the market's open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, SOUN. Very big mover today. And now we have a good solid pattern here headed into Friday, and a pattern that you got to think a lot of people are watching. And I make that comment because when a lot of people are watching the same pattern, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So the level here that I think a lot of people have drawn, so this is not some sort of great discovery on my part, I assure you, a lot of people have drawn something very similar, is a trend line like that. And on the flip side of things, a lower trend line like that. So let me change that to green to represent support. And then just to make it easier to see, let's keep it one color. So we have a resistance, we have a support, we have the huge explosive move right here. A few golfers out there, let me add in the golf hole down here. And this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So while nothing is guaranteed, is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price can come up here and get the break up through the top part of that pattern, that break right there in and of itself could produce additional buying pressure, additional momentum? Absolutely. So no guarantees, but certainly a reasonable thought process to have. So if you like stocks down below $5, you like bull pennants, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, ticker symbol JXJT, and a very, very interesting chart, but potentially a train wreck chart if you were somebody that bought up around here when it first opened up and weren't using a stop loss because, yeah, it got very nasty from that point. But in doing so, a lot of people talking about it, and there's once again what I would argue is a well-defined level that you got to think a lot of people have drawn, and that is that resistance trend line right there. Let me add in this bottom part of it, and then you also have in this area right here, which gives us a little miniature falling wedge pattern, which is a bullish pattern. Now, just because something's bullish doesn't mean for sure the price is going to go back upwards, but it does nonetheless create a pretty interesting scenario, especially when you consider just how high this one was up and the ability to move very quickly. So this is one of those situations where, yeah, I get it. It's a train wreck if you're someone that was buying up here, but if assuming you don't own a position right now, but you do like falling wedges, and you do like this because the fact of the matter is this still is an overall pullback. Yeah, it's a very nasty pullback, but it's still a pullback nonetheless. It hasn't closed the gap or anything like that. So if you like falling wedges, you like this price range, I'd certainly keep an eye on it because this one proved today to be very explosive. Next one here, ticker symbol MARA, and this one finally decided to be human a little bit as it did pull back. I'm going to get rid of these levels up here. But with that being said, from the bigger picture, let me zoom out. Just so you can see that grand scheme of things, the chart is still plenty fine. So I realize it's and my job is a little challenging because I have to try to deal with multiple perspectives. So I full well understand if your perspective was a day trader that bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then yes, from that point of view, the chart looks really bad. But assuming you do care about the bigger picture of things, you can see overall the chart is still perfectly fine. I do want to add in a couple more overall levels of support, with the next key level being right down here around this former breakout point around 24.35. But I mean, think about that. And I'm not saying this will occur, but what happens if the price actually came all the way down here? But then let's say it just went sideways and then headed back up. What would you still have? Emphasis on big picture. Well, from the big picture perspective, you'd still have a set of lows here. You'd have lows there. You'd have lows there. You'd have lows down here. And if you envision each of these as stair steps, what do you have? Well, from the big picture, you'd still very clearly have stair steps making progress in the upwards direction. And that's what it's all about. You just want to see progress being made forward. Again, I understand if you're a day trader that bought right there, you don't care about these stair steps. But I'm trying to make a comment here based on the grand scheme of things, bigger picture point of view. So yeah, it did pull back a bit today, but overall, the price is still plenty in the bull's favor. Next one, ticker symbol LYFT, LYFT, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video from yesterday, but it talked about the pattern here that had formed. So we had ourselves a bull pennant, and you can see this morning, got the breakout of that level, and then just made another explosive move to the upside. So I'm going to get rid of these levels down here as they serve their purpose. And in some sense, it's kind of a case of deja vu because we once again essentially have another bear pennant bull pennant that has formed here. So let me try to zoom in a little bit more. There we go. So we can see this a little bit easier. So there we have the top part of the pattern. Here we have the bottom part. And then just to keep it all one color, again, maybe you already see it, but just in case you're still working on your chart vision, resistance support, big move up, golf hole down here, another nice bull pennant pattern on a relatively popular stock, a well-known stock. And, that just adds more to the kind of the recipe of a potential self-fulfilling prophecies. The more ingredients you have, the better of a chance of that happening. One of the big ingredients is how well-known is the stock, and not that LYFT is on the same level as an Apple or an NVIDIA or something like that, but it is still a relatively well-known stock. So biggest difference here, I would say, is the other stocks were all down below $10, but here we have one up over $10. So if you like bull pennants in this price range, here you go. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC, and not a whole lot to update here other than just confirmation of a level that I talked about previously. That's right up here at this $5. In fact, let me just move this up to $5. There we go. $5 mark right there. Confirmation in the sense of, you can see right here, fake breakout of that level. Tried to break out right there, but couldn't quite get up to it. So once again, you find that middle ground, and it is indeed right around that $5 mark. Nothing new to report other than just saying that, yeah, apparently, that level right there, the general area of $5 is going to be pretty stubborn. And not that the price can't break through it, but if the price is going to be able to push through it, then the bulls really are going to need to bring their A game in order to not only break above that level, but stay above it. Case in point right there. Price did break above it, but in terms of being strong enough to stay above it, that's where it failed in that regard. As far as levels of support, main level to watch is going to be right down there around the 470 mark, which you now also see is that purple line is creeping its way up there, that 50-period moving average. Both that key word being moving, so as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So point being is that eventually at some point tomorrow, that is going to take a higher priority than $4.70. Right now, the price is still technically slightly below it, but as soon as it moves up above it, that'll take the higher priority at that point in time. But all things considered, good healthy day here for AMC, and it's consolidating at higher levels, and that's what you want. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free webinar. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box that you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the page there that you can use to get signed up. Now, a special note, it is a genuine live event. So maybe you already have something on your schedule this evening. Maybe you're watching this Friday morning and you completely missed it. Go ahead, send me an email, and I would be happy to send you a link to the replay. But if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up, and I'll see you here in just a few hours. Next one, ticker symbol TSLA, Tesla, and wow, what a day today. This will mean, once again, a little bit more of those of you that watched yesterday's video, but yesterday's video, I talked about how the price was getting up through these areas. So the big question going into today was, okay, is this the start of something bigger? And yes, we got our answer. That break of those two key moving averages down there was indeed the start of something much bigger, as Tesla, it didn't literally go straight up, but it was very close to essentially going straight up the entire day long. So very, very impressive movement here. And now we got to squeeze things down here quite a bit to figure out where some of these next potential areas of resistance are. Oh, yeah, wow. So basically miniature blue sky breakout, because the next areas of resistance aren't until this gap close location right up here around, let's just call it the 207 mark, give or take. So 207, next area, that doesn't mean the price is going to go straight up to that level. But as you can see here, just looking back through the history of the chart, there just aren't any other data points. So in that sense, that's why I would call that a little miniature blue sky breakout here, and kind of blue sky territory that it's in right now. So keep an eye on that dynamic from the resistance side of things. In fact, in terms of areas of support, initial level there are going to be right around that 196.50 mark, which is this former area of resistance back there. And that's just a basic rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So if there is any sort of pullback, then ideally speaking, right there at the 196.50 mark would be the key level you want to see hold strong. But no doubt about it, massive breakout today. Does this momentum carry it up to this level right here? It is Tesla. It can move fast. So I don't think that's out of the realm of reason at all. Next one, CHNR, and nice little pattern here. Again, I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to imply that this is some sort of great discovery on my part. I think a lot of people have drawn levels relatively close to that right there as a resistance. And then in terms of areas of support, right down here, this thing is seemingly starting to bottom out around the $3.10 mark. And then just to keep it all the same color, we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big move up here. You know what's coming next, the golf hole down here. So we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So same general idea. A lot of people watching the same pattern and wondering the same things. You could get some potentially really nice self-fulfilling prophecy type breakouts. But if you like this price range, you like bull pennants, you have quite a bit of variety to choose from here. headed into Friday. Next one, ticker symbol NKLA, and overall, very, very impressive move. And I'm just going to map out this really quickly because there's a couple other levels I want to focus on. But in the very near term, I have no problem saying you got a little miniature bull pennant pattern there. I fully agree with that. But what I'm more curious about moving forward from kind of a bigger picture standpoint is this area of resistance right here at the 76-cent mark. If you go back through the history of things, you can see right here, acted as resistance, and then once again today, yeah, the price got slightly above it, but generally speaking, acted as resistance. So that'll be the big question mark moving forward. Can the price get the break of 76 cents? Because you can see now there have been 3 instances where the price has been up around there and just hasn't been able to quite push through there. So keep an eye on that. If there are any sort of pullbacks or anything like that, then from a support standpoint, you have your moving averages down here. Pink line, 200 period moving average, purple line, 50 period moving average. But in my opinion, at least, the most interesting dynamic here headed forward is all about that 76-cent mark and whether or not the price can get the true break of it. Next one here, ticker symbol SOXS, and it's doing its best to hang in there. It's looking pretty shaky, and I got to move this area of support now down to the $4.20 mark. And whenever levels of support need to be adjusted in the downwards direction, not a good sign. And this thing, like I said, and if you want to say it's already game over, I wouldn't put up much of an argument there at all. Game over relative to what? Well, relative to this move here. That was a very, very impressive move, and now it's very close to potentially having gone right back to where it was, which I would, consider right down here being, so here's where it was before the big move up. You extend this out. So like I said, it's staying up above it slightly. But again, if you're like, no, Clay, that's close enough to being right back to where it started. Again, I wouldn't put up much of an argument at all. But that is why I would definitely say $4.20. Very, very important level, because if the price were to break down below there and then continue to down, then at that point, you'd literally have a situation where almost like a little miniature kind of pump and dump where there is a great move and then the price has gone right back to where it started. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but again, that's why $4.20, very, very important. In terms of areas of resistance, keep a very close eye on that purple line right there. 50 period moving average, you can see it's been a very big pain right there. Rejected it right there today. Not saying that the price can't break above there, but that has very clearly become a very stubborn level that you'll want to watch closely from the resistance standpoint. Next one here, ticker symbol TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to go up, this one will also go up. It just allows you access at a lower price point, which makes it a very popular ETF out there. And nothing as explosive as yesterday, but slow and steady winning the race, as it has once again put in some higher lows. So, I mean, if you just look at the low there, and even lows right there, it continues to creep upwards. So good on that note. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level because, in my opinion, 2 key levels of support that you can just use now, given that it is officially up above that purple line there, 50 period moving average. That's the ideal level. I mean, if you say what would make this chart look the absolute best, certainly staying above that level. If that doesn't quite hold up, then you do have that 200 period moving average down there as support levels for those of you that like to play potential pullbacks. In regards to areas of resistance, main battleground to watch, in my opinion, at least moving forward, right there around $59.40. So keep an eye on that. But all things considered, the price is in an uptrend. It continues to slowly grind higher and higher. And yeah, we'll see if it can make a push back up to these previous highs. I wouldn't be shocked by that at this point, but we'll see what happens with it. But all things considered, slow and steady won the race today. Nothing explosive, nothing super exciting today, but proved to ultimately be a good, healthy day. So we'll see how it closes out the week on Friday. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the tool, then definitely get signed up for that free live webinar, which will be this evening, Thursday, February 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. But like I said earlier, if for whatever reason you can't make it live, go ahead and send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the recording. All I ask is a little patience because, again, it is live, so the event does first need to happen, and then after I get it uploaded, I can send it to you at that point. But like I said, if you can make it live, then definitely show up here, and I'll see you in a few hours. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do 2 things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you traded today. Give me your watches for tomorrow, or just say hi. But or let me know, are you gonna attend the webinar? I mean, a bunch of things you could comment, as I'd love to hear from you. And comments, they help out the videos, which in turn helps out the channel. So thank you in advance for that, and hopefully I'll be seeing you here in just a couple hours. But if not, go ahead and send me an email.